Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference. Today we are talking about Victor Oladipo and whether or not the Indiana Pacers should trade him. Now, if you are not aware of the situation that's going on in Indiana that has led to this being a discussion in the first place, well, basically what's happened is Victor Oladipo is up for a contract extension, and because of Victor's spotty health the past 2 seasons, there is a lot of hesitance from Indiana's front office to give him a max contract, which Oladipo believes he deserves. There is 1 year left on his deal after this season, and there is some speculation that the Pacers might trade Oladipo while he still has some value on that contract and not have to pay him a shit ton of money for him to just continue to be injury riddled for his entire career. So the question, of course, is should the Indiana Pacers trade Victor Oladipo? And this is certainly a tough one because really when Paul George was traded from the Pacers for him, it was believed that the Pacers were going to be a pretty bad team for quite a while, even up until now. However, because Oladipo was so good his first season with Indiana, they were actually a very respectable, very solid basketball team, and it's really mostly because of Oladipo. Since then, they've built a good roster specifically around Oladipo, except Oladipo has been kind of hurt. Like, they got Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason, traded for TJ Warren, Sabonis has gotten gradually better, things like that to make the team good as a whole, and the hope was, well, this team is built well now, and they're pretty good and pretty respectable now. Just wait for them to get easily the best player on their team back. Well, the problem is that best player has not really been back. He played 13 games this year, and he's expressed some hesitance in playing in the bubble. I think part of that was health, and part of that was him just not wanting to, so that has not helped tensions whatsoever. And I certainly understand where both parties are coming from in this situation, because when you look at it, Oladipo became a bona fide star player with the Pacers in his first year. He had a little bit of a statistical drop-off in his second year before injury, but it wasn't like so significant that he wasn't still a very good player. He was just a bit more of a playmaker than a scorer than he was in his first year, and I mean, outside of that, there was no reason to believe that Oladipo would not be getting a maximum contract to come in the future. However, he has a serious injury which ends his 2019 season, and then in 2020, he only plays 13 games, and in those 13 games, he plays pretty damn bad. Now, it's only 13 games, and he hadn't played basketball in damn near a year, so it's perfectly understandable, but there is reason to be hesitant on Oladipo. Now, what I would do in the position of Indiana is I would sit on this, presuming that Oladipo is okay sitting on this. I think both parties need to be a little bit more lenient than they are. Like, Oladipo should understand the circumstances of like, hey, we're fully aware that you were very good in 2018, but we're not all that aware of how good you are right now because you have not played basketball in quite a bit of time, and when you last played basketball, you did not play it well. So there is reason for them to be hesitant on Oladipo, and I think Oladipo should be aware of that. However, from the Pacers' perspective, they should also be aware that this is a guy that made their franchise relevant when it seemed like it was going to be completely irrelevant for the next couple of years at the bare minimum, and he made that not the case. So you should give him that respect and give him some benefit of a doubt. However, you should not give so much of a benefit of the doubt that you are sacrificing a big chunk of money that's going to bite you in the ass. So it's certainly a tricky situation. So as I said, I think I would sit on this and just hope to extend him, or not extend him, but just give him a new contract in the 2021 free agency. Or I'm not sure exactly what the deadline is. I think there's a contract signing extension deadline in the middle of next season where they could extend him from there. I don't know, it depends. But basically, let's see how he performs in the bubble, and you can use that as somewhat of a basis, and then maybe if he just performs so well and you're confident that he's going to be healthy, see what the team doctors say and all that, then maybe you're like, all right, we'll give you this contract, Oladipo. Although, I think maybe a shorter contract would still be more ideal in that situation, and maybe that's something that both parties can agree to, maybe not. Oladipo might want that long-term security, but I definitely understand, like I said, I understand every perspective here. But then let's see what he does in the 2020-21 season, and if he's fallen off or once again he gets hurt, then the Pacers should either trade him or let him walk, depending on what they're able to do with the time frame of that. And that's just an unfortunate situation, and it's really going to be disappointing because I thought Oladipo was going to be even better in Indiana than he was in his first season there, because he was just 25, and this was his first real year with a real opportunity on top of him making big strides in his personal game. Then that's not happened pretty much since 2018. Again, 2019 he was looking all right, but it wasn't as great, and then injury. So it would certainly be very disappointing if, for the Pacers, this ended with Oladipo being traded, and then you're just this mediocre team with, like, Domantas Sabonis, Malcolm Brogdon, and TJ Warren, and Miles Turner, and, like, that's your core. Like, that's pretty damn lame. None of those players are really flashy. None of them are that fun to watch, and I think Oladipo gives you that spark of, like, just being interesting, and on top of that, Oladipo is better than all of those guys. At least he is in theory. There's a chance he's just never going to replicate what he did in his first season in Indiana, but I believe that he can, permitted he gets the health permitted. I don't know how you phrase that, whatever. So obviously you do not want to see Oladipo get traded from the Pacers, because that was a pretty damn good storybook type of situation in his first year, and there was a lot of reason to be excited for the future, and this would basically just be that whole thing fizzling out, and of course you don't want that. So the Pacers, I believe, should just wait and see what Oladipo is capable of doing in the bubble, and then see what he's capable of doing in the next season up until the contract extension deadline. Or maybe it's so bad that you just trade him by the trade deadline, because that's really where it is like trade deadline. I believe it's before the contract extension deadline. Like, trade Oladipo or sign him based on how he does in the next season. Now, the question of what could you get in an Oladipo trade? Well, that is really dependent on how well he plays. I think one team that would certainly be interesting is the Miami Heat, because I think I've seen a bunch of rumors with them, like, looking to target Oladipo to pair him with Jimmy Butler. I certainly think that would be interesting in terms of what you could get for Oladipo. I do not think you're getting any of their young assets like Duncan Robinson or Kendrick Nunn or Tyler Hero. Maybe Kendrick Nunn is possible, because I don't think he's actually going to get much better than he is right now, but probably not even that. And then outside of that, you can get some salaries to match. They have a few contracts that would work, and then probably just a first round pick or two. Like, the problem with this is Oladipo, like, he has so much of he's like a high risk, high reward, but then again, because he's on a 1-year contract, he's not really that high risk. But because, like, we're saying hypothetically, he's still playing pretty mediocre in the 2021 season, and you're trading him, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of value, especially being that he's on a 1-year contract, because he's just going to be able to be, I mean, I guess you could view it as there's the positive and negative of it being a 1-year contract, because if he is great, then, like, shit, I have to extend him, and if he's not, then, like, you don't have to worry about his contract long term. So I don't know, it's an interesting situation. His trade value could really vary quite significantly, because of course he's a former All-Star and he was a very good player in 2018. Just once again, don't know how good he's going to be down the line, and it really depends on how much teams are willing to take that risk, because Oladipo is going to be 28 years old in the next season, so it's not like he's this young guy in the league anymore. He's really in the middle of his prime, and if he continues to be bad in the middle of his prime, that's a closing window as he gets older, and I would just be so disappointed if it ended like that, but it's definitely theoretically possible, and Indiana has every right to be questioning if they should actually give this guy a big deal. I think probably the middle ground that I would hope both sides could agree to would be like, let's give Oladipo a 2-year team option, 2-year plus team option maximum contract. I mean, it's not technically max, but like max money per season. You know what I mean? In that case, like Oladipo gets like over $60 million, and if he's good, he'll get over $90 million. I don't know what his exact cap is based on all the achievements, because that really just depends on a whole bunch of factors. But a shorter term max contract, the 2021-22 season, 2022-23 season. So really, they're only stuck with Oladipo for the next 3 years. And then if Oladipo ends up being great, then they can bring him on for another season. Or they could do, I don't know what the exact term is, but there's like a mutual option type of thing where like both parties have to agree that they want to re-up with the team. So like Oladipo could be like, nah, I don't want you to pick up that team option to give me more money. So that would be a thing. I don't know. It's a tricky situation. I don't have an actual answer for if they should trade Oladipo, because I mean, there's a lot of risk and reward in signing him, and there's a lot of risk and reward in trading him. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation that I'll have to keep an eye on. And I think people should in general keep an eye on, because I think this has kind of gone under the rug a little bit, because this could be pretty damn big of a deal in the offseason, in the coming season. And with how shitty this offseason is probably going to be based on a lot of factors, it would certainly be nice to have some kind of rumor going on. So that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.